I was just at a light, and there's a truck pulls up to the light, and he's cranking this music, and it's like hip-hop music, but it's like Polynesian hip-hop music, which I've never heard before, but like, why not? Why wouldn't there be? And he's just going like, I'm a proud Polynesian, I'm a proud, like over and over again. And I just, you know, I'm thinking, why? Not because he's Polynesian, but because it's anything. Like, anytime anyone talks about racial pride, it never, from any background or any race or culture, I don't get it. I never got it. Like, what are you proud of? Like, well, you didn't do anything. You're born that way, right? I mean, it just kind of happened to you. Pride, I mean, I think comes from accomplishment. You know, you build a shed, your backyard. Look what I built. I did that. Pride. But just for a thing that you were born with, I don't know, it always seems weird. It feels like a cope. Like, it feels like there's some insecurity there. I don't mean with this, again, I'm not talking about the fucking guy and the Polynesian hip-hop. I'm talking just like pride in general. People who go crazy about racial pride. Like, you know, as a white-skinned person, I'm not allowed to say anything about pride. I'm not supposed to be able to be proud of any accomplishments. But I don't think I would anyway. Like, you know, Italian Americans, Irish Americans, French, people with white skin. Because it's not, white people aren't white people. That's new. That came along in 2008 with Barry Soetoro. He brought that around. I've never been lumped into some kind of culture, and they said, white people got no culture. It's like, yeah, because what the fuck are white people? I'm Irish, right? There's Irish culture. Our culture's pretty cool. It's old too, you know? And Italians have culture. French, Germans, they have very rich culture. I think the Italians can get away with doing a little bit of pride stuff. And Irish people on St. Patrick's Day, they got a whole day for it. And yeah, but on St. Patrick's Day, like, no, you know, no one talks about how. Well, I guess they do talk about how they're proud to be Irish. I guess still doesn't make sense. I don't get it. I was never that connected to my Irish roots. Like, you know, my family's really into it. They're really into it. I've lived with some people right off the boat who were over here on work visas. Really cool. I love the Irish people, man. My family used to go every year, and I regret not going, but back then it was like I could go with my family to Ireland, right? Or I could have 2 weeks to myself in an empty house and I could party, you know? So it wasn't much of a decision to me. Now, if I was going to Ireland with like one of my friends or something like that, maybe a different story, but I don't, you know, go with my mom and dad. But yeah, so Irish can have pride, Italians can have pride, but as long as you say it's Irish and Italian, I guess that's the way around it. But the point is, regardless of whether you can or can't say you have pride, I just never understood the need to talk about how proud you are about just being a thing you were born as, or you are. You know, it's not an accomplishment. You didn't do anything. You know, I guess you could be proud of your people, I guess. I don't know, it just always feels weird to me. It feels like a cope. Like, you know, like how if people who aren't something, they talk about it a lot, you know, and if you are something, you don't have to talk about it all the time. You know what I'm saying? That song just caught my ear, the Pride song. It got me thinking. Yeah, that's why there's no white pride, there's no white culture, because there isn't white. That's not even a thing. Yeah, you split up by your nationality. That's how it's always been. He's good. The whole idea about white people, it's just a way to group a lot of people together, so then you can use your words to beat them about the head and neck, metaphorically. You know, you see a lot of well, I don't know if you see it, but I see a lot of people like complaining about, you know, white people are being attacked from all sides and stuff. I don't feel like that, because I don't feel like I'm white. I'm Irish, you know. I don't know. Irish people are just rolling along, you know. So it's like they created this fake group of people that doesn't really exist. This group called white people that don't exist. They don't have holidays. They don't get together. And at social media, they always like to clown on that they have no culture. And it's like, well, yeah, because they're not a real thing, you know. If you were to take a group of those people and just ask them individually, it'd be like, yeah, we have our holidays, we have this, because they lean toward the nationality. They lean into that nationality, you know, German holidays, Oktoberfest, Italian Feast. These things just pop up top of my head. That's where their culture is. That's where they're. But it's too hard for the farmers to demonize all these different groups at once. So they're not even trying to demonize anybody. They want to create a boogeyman for everybody else to blame. And so that's what they did. They created this thing that doesn't exist. And they say that's the reason why the world's suffering. And they tell you this shit as soon as you start going to school. You drove these people off their land. You enslaved these people. You gassed these people. They teach you this every year. Meanwhile, between me and you, we now I'm falling into the trap, didn't do any of that shit. None of it. None on us. It's all horseshit. It's all horseshit. Like, there's so many things that it's like I can't really talk about here. Like, I wish you guys were all my neighbors, because I'd meet you somewhere and be like, dudes, fucking check this shit out. I'd lay some mind-blowing stuff on you about our situation and the way it is and the way the system is. But you really can't talk about any of this stuff, you know. Not even in a way, you can't even really dance around it. You know, basically, people with white skin have been blamed for all these crazy atrocities all throughout history. Blamed for some things that didn't even happen. didn't even exist, you know? Yeah, nope. Again, it's hard to discuss. But here's where I'm getting to. Truth. Good. Eventually it wins in the end. Eventually it does, because lies can only hold the body down for so long. Lies are the concrete blocks that are tied to the body. They're eventually going to come off. Some part of the body's going to float up, the body of truth. You can't keep it down forever. You can't keep it down forever. Right now what we're seeing is one group who created another group to be their golems, are now going at each other. And white-skinned people, I guess, Irish, Italian, German, or whatever, just need to sit out of this one. Just sit back. We don't have a dog in this fight. And it's interesting to see what's going to happen with that, you know, because it seems to be escalating every day, you know. Fucking Cryptic McGee. It's the thing. It's like you can't really discuss this kind of stuff, you know. And that's the way they've made the system that we're living in, you know, so that you can't discuss that kind of stuff. And it's all spellcraft. It's black magic bullshit, you know. Let me make sure there's no one behind me. Let me move over here. Yeah, it's programming, spellcraft, mind control for years and years and years and years and years. They got certain people so cucked out that you can't protest about anything. Like I was saying earlier, if you got white skin, you can't be proud of anything. But I mean, at the same time, Germans, Irish, Italian, French Canadian, I don't think we'd be running around yelling about our accomplishments as our individual groups. We're surrounded by our accomplishments, you know. We didn't like invent ham radio or something. Like we're running around fucking singing songs about it or something. That's a cope. That's like, that's jealousy. That's you know. I mean, it's you can see it. It's evident what that is. What that posturing is. It's resentment. And yeah, they hate us, of course. Of course they hate us. Even though us isn't an us. It's this fictitious boogeyman group that they've invented with which to blame all the evils of the world on. Earlier when I was thinking of all the atrocities that they say is in our history, and our history is complete bullshit. I mean, like the whole thing, top to bottom. Hey, how you doing, brother? How's it going? Man, isn't it great? Every day, man. Every day is like better than the next. God protects us, you know. He's in us. He's around us. It's
He watches us.
right. It's true, man. Yeah, he loves us, man. Just, he's gonna win in the end.
Awesome.
Absolutely, man. Have a good night. I always stop and talk about God with that guy. How great he is. But yeah, it sucks because like I have a lot of good things about this. I got a lot of good insight about it. How? I don't know. It just goes into that thing where like you just have stuff pop up in your brain. It's one of the aspects of the dropping bail that I hear people talk about from time to time, but not enough. What I call it is discovered information. Discovered information is basically something you're remembering. You're not learning it, right? It's just one day it's there in your head. And this is how that comes into play with figuring things out. Like I've used the IKEA furniture example, where you have the furniture, right, the pieces, and you empty it out on the ground. But you don't need the instructions because you look at it. Not actual IKEA furniture, because you fucking definitely need instructions, that shit. But you can look at it and just know how it goes. It's almost like a telepathic thing. Like you're just told, you see it. It just appears to you. It's just evident. That's how things are. Like that's the best shitty description I can come up with or something. But you see the truth of things. It's showing you the truth of things. It's showing you the answer to things. Yeah, I'm not fucking figuring anything out. I'm remembering stuff. You know, stuff that was inside me already, and that's inside all of us. Our DNA has the answers and the questions to everything. We know it all. It's just a matter of recalling it. Yeah, so discovering information is just like one of those things where you're sitting there one day. Sometimes quiet reflection helps this, and that's why I always talk about quiet reflection. I talk about it, but I don't get enough of it myself. And you'll just be there one day and you're like, oh, you know, that's why dolphins help humans, you know? How did I not see that? How did I not know that? It's evident, it's right there. That happens a lot. That happens more and more. And I've seen people describe this phenomenon too. But it doesn't have like a name. I've gone into great lengths about how we don't have a set of common terms that we can use for all this stuff, because a lot of us are just discovering these things, or have been discovering things in the last X amount of years, the last decade or so. So we're still trying to work out what to call some of this stuff, so when we are experiencing it or want to talk about it, we can say it's this, and then everybody says, oh yeah, it's that. But it's this thing. And I watched it happen to people. Like I had friends that were experiencing this too. And I remember on a bus, I'm talking to him, and I see it happening in real time. He's like, no, it's that. You know, whatever it was, whatever the answer is. And I'm like, yeah? He goes, yeah, it's that. And I forget what it was about, and then later he was like, how did I know that? And it was around the time when I first started getting that stuff too. Discovered information. It feels like a epiphany type of thing, but it's or discovered information. Is that what I said? Yeah. I don't even have my own names for this shit straight. But I don't think anybody else has that happen to them, where they just notice something's in their brain. Like, oh yeah, it's right here. I knew that. I know Kung Fu. It's almost like that. It's almost like that fucking movie then. The more the time goes on, it's like, shit, that was a truth drop. Maybe too much of a truth drop, because look at what they did to those guys. You know? Look at what they did to them. And that is what went on there. You know, that is what happened there. At least they didn't kill him like they did to Kubrick. You know, they let him, they killed him off, you know. There's too much getting out of the bag though now. Because just regular assholes like myself are discovering all this stuff because of the scales falling, the veil dropping. We're just seeing things and understanding things that we couldn't possibly have known or understood not all that long ago. But some stuff, like what I was mentioning earlier, you just can't discuss yet. Not in like a public kind of way. But if you were my neighbors, man, I would blow your minds. I'd blow your minds. I'm sure you'd blow mine too. Don't blame the teacher. Blame the school.